Hello and welcome into your Bruins fan review for Game 4 of the Stanley Cup Final. It is now a best of 3, meaning you have to win 2 of the next 3 games to win the series. It's no longer a best of 7. This is a minimized series right now, and it's really hard to gauge which team has momentum, if there even is such a thing as momentum heading into Game 5 with the way this series has gone. It's really been Bruins outplay the Blues and win, Blues outplay the Bruins and win, vice versa, back and forth. It's been that way. So really what you're wondering going into Game 4 has to be, does the pattern continue and the Bruins outplay the Blues, then the Blues outplay the Bruins in Game 6, and then the Bruins outplay the Bruins in Game 7? Is this going to go 7? All thoughts I'd like to know in the comments. So comment your prediction for what the series goes to, who wins and how many games. I'm really curious to see how Bruins fans feel, or fans of other teams or anything. But the Bruins never really got their feet under them tonight. It felt like they were always chasing the game. It didn't feel like they were in control for long stretches of time compared to the Blues, who absolutely dominated this game, in my opinion. Definitely deserved to win the game. And the fact the Bruins kept it close, it was 2-2 up until about 9 minutes left in the third period when Ryan O'Reilly would eventually break the ice. But just really not a good enough showing from the Bruins, and it's really upsetting to see how the Bruins' top line's been producing outside of the power play. Very, very low production outside of the power play, and it's kind of it's a shame to see, because if the Bruins' first line could get it going, some of these games might actually just swing our way just because of that one line, but it hasn't been the case. The Blues have done a good job of neutralizing them when they're not in the power play. Because some people look at the stats and go, well, Marchand, Bergeron, and Pastrnak have put up stats this postseason, along with the third line, so let's blame the second line. But really, the reason that first line stats are as good as they are is because of the power play time. Whereas something like what the third line has done, like the Coyle, Johansson line, something that they've done is they've scored a vast majority of their goals on 5-on-5 at even strength, which really are the goals that kill other teams and give you momentum. So maybe they're just waiting to break out, and maybe Game 5 will be the game they break out, maybe Game 6, but it needs to be soon, or we might not be hoisting up the cup this June, which would be a shame with how good this team is and how capable they are of winning this game. An issue in this game is just not controlling the puck in the offensive zone, a lot of sloppy turnovers. It was just not a very good looking game. It was a pretty frustrating game to watch, because it was basically just watching an onslaught of the Blues just constantly peppering Rask, which it's hard to blame Rask for anything in this game, but his rebound control wasn't that good, to be honest. But I think with 38 shots, you're going to give up some rebounds. Whereas Binnington only tested on 23 shots against, which isn't enough in a playoff game. You're rarely going to win playoff games without at least like 30 shots or so. Just overall not good enough. The scoring would get started very quickly, which this kind of is a huge red flag when you get scored on 43 seconds into the game. All the Blues goals that besides the empty netter were all off of rebounds. And what would happen here, you'd have Zach Sanford take a shot from the point. Tuukka saves it, falls right to O'Reilly. O'Reilly gets the momentum. He's going that way. He gets the puck, is able to wrap it around and beat Rask. I don't blame Rask on this goal as much as I would like him to be able to get over and cover the other side of the net. But it's just a really fast play, and if anything, it just shows you that the Blues came out with more energy and were more capable of getting on rebounds. Because if you look in the bottom right picture, look at where Krug and O'Reilly are. Krug has the position on O'Reilly. O'Reilly's just more reactive to the situation. He gets the puck and wraps it around and scores a huge goal for the Blues, which sets him up on the right foot, and it would really set the tone for the game. The Bruins, however, great resilient team, would respond later in this period. About 13 minutes and 14 seconds into the first period, Zdeno Chara taking it down the wing, getting it off of... actually, I should mention what happens in the bottom right picture first. Dan Heinen does a good hold-up play. He gets labeled to the floor, but the puck squirts out behind him. It's a loose puck. Chara gets to it. Chara takes it down the wing, throws the puck on net. Coyle gets a rebound and puts away the goal for his 9th of the postseason, and he is been an amazing acquisition for the Bruins. I've said this so many times throughout my videos, but you can never praise Charlie Coyle enough for how much he's done for the Bruins club and how far we've gone. We wouldn't be this far if it wasn't for Charlie Coyle, and I'm not saying that lightly. Like, we really probably wouldn't even be in this round if it wasn't for Charlie Coyle. And he gets another goal and a big one to level at 1-1 and create some hope. But the Blues are here for a reason. They're a resilient team as well, and they respond about 2 minutes later with a Vladimir Tarasenko goal. Now, this is an extremely dirty toe drag by Alex Pietrangelo. You can see what it does to create space for him. The bottom left is the shot that he got off. It would be a rebound straight out to Tarasenko. Tarasenko would bang it in. I actually don't have the picture of Tarasenko banging in, which that's my bad. But the picture in the top right shows you where the play started. It started with the Colton Parayko turnover on Danton Heinen. And one thing the Blues had going from here was they just had a change. They got fresh legs on the ice, brought it up the ice, gets a shot on net, quick to the rebound, and put it away. And that just did us in right there. Head to the second period down 2-1. And in the second period, one of the most important moments in the game, and I can't say that enough. This is a very key injury because of how big of a penalty killer Chara is. Zdeno Chara takes a shot to the face. It ramps up off his stick. He blocks Braden Shen's shot, hits him right around this area, I want to say, breaks his jaw, and he's bleeding. You can just see, like, if you watch the slow-mo, you can see the blood just spurt out the second he gets hit with the puck. And Zdeno Chara would end up not returning to this game. He would return to the bench at the beginning of the third period, but he would not go on the ice. He would have a full mask on, and he probably couldn't breathe that well out of it with just breaking his jaw. He was probably really swollen and all that, and they didn't feel comfortable sending out there. And hearing that he broke his jaw, it makes sense why he wasn't able to go out there. But this raises a big question of what is the Bruins blue line going to look like going forward, because you have Matt Grzelcyk, who's not exactly fully healthy right now either, but both these guys are considered questionable for tonight's Game 5, which is intriguing. If I had to take a guess, I've heard that Bruce Cassidy is thinking of running 7 defensemen, which my guess is he would use Chara in limited action, because I can't imagine Chara is going to be able to breathe and get the proper oxygen to be able to play as much as he normally does. So my guess is they play Grzelcyk and Chara tonight, play both of them, and play 7 defensemen, and that means a forward's coming out of the lineup. And if I had to take a guess based on minutes, it's probably going to be, I'd probably guess Noel Acciari. If I had to make a guess, it would probably be Noel Acciari coming out and running 7 defensemen, which I don't think is the worst idea in the world, because you got a lot of Bruins forwards who could get more minutes in the games, in my opinion. Like Bergeron only at 17, he can play more. Marchand at 20, that's fine. Pasta at 17, he can play more. DeBrusque at 13.5, play him more. You have these very talented forwards who are struggling to get on the score sheet. If you're going to play 7 defensemen, it's not the worst idea in the world to give some of these guys who are struggling more ice time to get more opportunities, in my opinion. So if I had to guess, you probably see McAvoy and this is tough to say actually, because you really got to wonder what the abilities of Grzelcyk and Chara coming off of their injuries is. But if I had to take a guess, you'll probably see Krug and McAvoy, Grzelcyk and Carlo. Wow, this is really tough actually. Clifton and Moore. And then probably Chara as the 7th defenseman to be a penalty kill specialist and shifts here and there. I'm really having a tough time believing Chara is going to be able to play to his full capabilities a few days after he breaks his jaw. I don't know. It's just hard for me to think that. And yeah, I'd imagine Acciari comes out of the lineup and they just rotate the right wings. But really bad injury and bad timing, and you really would like to have a fully healthy Chara. He only played 8:23 in this game because he got injured, but he was getting over 20 minutes a night every game this postseason. And the Bruins would have to go on in this game with only 5 defensemen for the second time in the series, and both times they go down to 5 defensemen, they have lost. So that's another thing. If you were to get another injury on your back line, having 7 defensemen would be able to negate that cause. If you were to have, you would then have 6 defensemen if one gets injured, which I think is pretty important to have 6 defensemen, or at least we've seen it, because tired legs, not getting to rebounds and all that. But the Bruins would respond back to make this 2-2 in the second period. A shorthanded goal by none other than Brandon frickin' Carlo, man. If you want to pick a guy who you least expect to get a shorthanded goal, it's Brandon Carlo. And this comes off a high sticking penalty by Jay Boemeister. And really good breakout play by Marchand to hold up at the blue line, wait for people to come. The top right pitcher, he does a flip pass, lifts it past in between the two Blues players, Vince Dunn and Ryan O'Reilly. Bergeron catches it, takes a low shot, hard rebound to Carlo, and Carlo bangs it home to put the Bruins level 2-2. They would head to the third period, tied 2-2, until Ryan O'Reilly would break the ice and take the lead for the Blues. 10:38 into the third period. Another shot, another rebound, and another goal for the St. Louis Blues. Another Alex Pietrangelo shot that is banged home by Ryan O'Reilly. And really, there's not much else to say except pucks on net gets it done for you. And Pietrangelo and O'Reilly were forces in this game on both sides of the ice. They both played fantastic. And just the Blues being more reactive and more aware and getting to pucks, it was really key. They just played harder. They wanted to win the game more, and that's just how it felt. Eventually, Braden Shen would put in the empty netter to make it 4-2 and tie up the series 2-2. And really, I really don't know what to think about these Game 5 tonight. I would like to think the Bruins flip the script again and play a good Game 5 because they respond so well to losses this season, so I'd expect them to play well tonight. And playing well doesn't always mean you win, but I'd expect a better-looking Bruins team tonight, a much better Bruins team tonight than we saw on Monday in St. Louis. And there's really not much else to say except for you need Tuukka Rask to be a little better with the rebound control. You need your boys to come out and be ready to play and not get scored on in the first minute of the game. And you just need to put more pucks on net, control the play more, not as many turnovers, smart decisions. The neutral zone there, really bad getting into the blue zone. It was really just not as easy as it could have been for them and not as easy as it has been in previous games. Because this is by far their worst game in this series, worse than Game 2. The other two games they played good. But really, as a Bruins fan, I really hope they respond well in Game 5. I'm not worried yet, but if they lose Game 5, I'll be pretty worried and not too optimistic about the Bruins' abilities to win the Cup if they lose Game 5. If they win Game 5, I'll be very confident that the Bruins will at least win one of Game 6 or 7. So I think this game tonight, Game 5, is probably going to decide the series and who wins it. I think winner of Game 5 wins the series, and I feel like anyone would agree with that for the most part. It's really hard to win a Game 6 and a Game 7, especially when one of those games is on the road. But I think right now you have to lean advantage Bruins just because of the home ice advantage alone. Besides that, there's really not much separating these two teams. They're very evenly matched, and both teams are very good. That being said, I'd like to thank you if you're still watching the video to this point. Hit the thumbs up button if you enjoyed the video. Leave a comment with your thoughts on the series and who you think is going to win. Hit the subscribe button if you want to follow my Bruins coverage throughout this season, the next seasons, and the future seasons to come. I really enjoy talking about the Bruins and interacting with you in the comments, so please keep it up. And I'll see you for the next video, which is Game 5 review, which I should have up tomorrow. I'm gonna guarantee it. I'm gonna have that video up tomorrow. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for watching. Peace.